Kia ora, welcome to the Lightroom forecast. I'm Di, and today we're going to be doing a reading for this Sagittarian solar eclipse, Sagittarian new moon in this time and tides section. So really, when we look at the new moon, it's usually traditionally a time of setting intentions, planting seeds for projects or things that we want to, bring forward, bring into being. And in order to do this, sometimes we need to make room for that. We don't always do it. We don't always release on a full moon. I just get the sense of general feeling at this time. And of course this reading is for the collective, for the global community. So it's incredibly general. But I do get the feeling that there needs to be some space cleared, some ground prepared, in the cosmic garden of life, really. For some of the real, because there's great potential. There's great potential power involved, it appears to be, in the sort of astrological or astronomical planetary movements that are occurring leading up to and into next year, with the great Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, which I believe hasn't happened since, I think, about 1403 or somewhere around there. Correct me if that's not right, but it's 14 something. I think that was in 22 degrees Aquarius. I think certainly the one coming up, this conjunction in December, 21st of December, summer solstice here in the southern hemisphere. I know it's in 0 degrees Aquarius, which is pretty potent, I feel. So anyway, what was I saying? I was talking about this, new moon, general new moon energy, where we plant seeds. We have this formulation of ideas and things that we want to bring into fruition, and we need to clear ground to do it. I feel like it's the clearing, and what are the restrictions to this clearing of new fertile earth that we're planting our wee seeds, and what restrictions have we put on ourselves? These restrictions are the things that we need to clear. It's one of those things where you say, oh, well, I'm just going to release that. I've thought, well, this is something maybe, that's holding me back, that's preventing me, something within myself. Well, I'm just going to release it. But I think from my experience that one puts certain barricades, fortress, maybe a big amazing door with an ornate lock on it. We put restrictions around particular things that trying to explain myself here. I'm not doing it very well. we put a barrier around things that need to be released. It's like being doubly careful that we just hold on to it. So the idea and the process of releasing isn't as simple as just saying, well, I just release that. It hasn't been for me in this wonderful life thus far. So it's looking at those restrictions around what we need to let go of at this time for this incredibly important and potent new moon in Sagittarius. So it's a simple spread. If you've seen previous videos, I do like to have a kind of guide, and this is appropriate, I feel, for this new moon. So we're looking at overarching energy. We're looking at elements of what we need to release, and we look at the restrictions around that, because it's all about work. Nothing comes without effort. So we're looking at those three things, and then just a extra card tapped on the end to see whatever we see. So let's see what we get. And of course, it's not going to resonate for everyone. It is so general, but it is for the collective, and we are all connected in this life at this current time. So let's see. So overarching energies, and thank you sincerely for joining me. Really appreciate any likes, shares and subscribes at this point, just totally. So thank you very much. But let's see for the overarching energies for this gorgeous fiery Sagittarian new moon. It's going to be an expansive new moon. And what do we get? How beautiful this is. Overarching energies, we get the Six of Cups. And in this deck, the Thoth Lady Frida Harris deck, it is pleasure. In traditional decks, I do like to go into this, because in some traditional decks, this is the card of childhood memory. There's something about this new moon that is very reminiscent of those of childhood memory, of childhood delight and energy. So the Six of Cups often looks at this idea of reminiscing, of remembering the joy of childhood. Now, I'm just, I know that for many people, childhood is many different things, but this is the general meaning here. So with this overarching energy at this time, we get these beautiful, this very nouveau-ish looking collection of cups, intertwined, full. Number 6 itself, the number is Tiperet on the tree of life, the point of balance and harmony. So we've got this beautiful kind of glow around us at this time, which holds a lot of potential. It holds a lot of potential because we're in, as a general wave of energy around us. It is the thing we all strive for at any given time, and very hard to be continuous with it, but we do strive for balance and well-being and feelings of comfort, which this card is all about that too. Comfort and belonging and childhood, you know, the joy of imagination and discovery. It's beautiful. It's a glorious card. So let's just see for this. So we've got this overriding energy around us where things are pretty, it's looking hopeful. It's looking hopeful. It's looking full of potential. So we see if we need to clear the ground to plant these new seeds. Like everything's looking very favourable. See what the what does need to possibly be released here prior to this fabulous Sagittarian new moon. Does anything need to be released? Maybe it doesn't. I'm not getting any cards. Do like to let them jump out. So, does anything need to be released? Maybe expressed. I think maybe shine a light. I mean, we get the sun. How could this appear? How could this appear? It's just amazing. There's a little money spider crawling over the keyboard here. You might see it. The beautiful sun. I think it's more about going with like full expression. This is an amazing card. We see the conch shell. Traditionally, it's small child. I was talking about children. Small child on a horse. The sun gives us all that we need for nurturing, for nurture, happiness, expression. The conch. We see the figure on a Pacific beach blowing the conch shell, and this reverberating sound is sent forth. This is just expression at its greatest height. So, often a light is shone on things we didn't necessarily see before, a different angle to a project, a situation, a different way out of a difficult situation, a different way of releasing, a different way of releasing is just what I hear. Maybe it is in the expression. Maybe it's about expression, expressing to others around you. But it is absolutely beautiful. I think that wee spider's gone somewhere. Okay, so let's just keep going. I don't see what the restrictions, what there could be, how could there be any restrictions here around expression? Let's just see. Ego would be one, only because the restrictions this is a directive, have we, not only collectively. It starts with the individual, doesn't it? The restriction being, we get the strength card, it's taming in a very gentle way. Taming, the inner voice, the inner critic, the ego. Ego is a great thing. It allows us to act and move and get things moving in this life. But we really need to understand our own individual ego, the potholes and the pitfalls of it. It appears that, just to me, I get this idea that this lady with the beast, with the animal, with whatever deck of cards you're familiar with, that this has been going on for a while. I mean, it is literally an ongoing process. It's difficult and arduous, but it is a necessity. Well, this is sort of interesting. It's interesting reading. I'll just get one more card and then we'll clarify. Excuse me. We'll clarify. Just one more card as a end to this, and we get, or as an end to this first row, we get the beautiful reflective Queen of Cups. See this beautiful queen? Of course, she got there. She got to her throne. She's like a self-generating system. She has her cup and is quite secure in that allowing herself to give and receive. She has tamed that which has agendas attached to that. I find interesting. Agendas attached. At the same time, attached to being able to give freely without feeling like you've just lost a pound of flesh. She's also, and you can see in this card, in another polarity, we see many, many different reflections. So sometimes it can get confusing. What's the real? Stand up, the real queen. We see many reflections in there. I don't know why I get that, but anyway. So let's go through. It looks like, so just to keep grounded here. So we see overarching energy. We see anything next in the next card that needs to possibly be released. But we see that there's more of a need for expression. And then we see or ask, are there restrictions that were around this? Restrictions to release anything here? We have the Strength card. we have understanding the ego, which more often than not understanding one's own ego is a restriction in itself. So let's go through, back through. We'll get, we'll just try and clarify. We'll try and clarify things. Yeah, it's a funny day. It's very hot here. Very hot. I have to go for a swim. 6 of Cups, please. Overarching energies. We'll peel the layer back. We peel, we get a glimpse of those little pieces of light coming through the veil. We peel it back to get shown. Just another layer for the 6 of Cups, please. For the 6 of Cups. Thank you. Whoops, too many. A few too many. Just one card. The 6 overarching energies. It's pretty beautiful. But there is a reminiscent potential in this card of looking at the past as well. This is another aspect of it, of looking at the past in a more rosy way than what it was in reality. The Queen of Discs pops out to give us a little bit of an extra level to the 6 of Cups. I think there's a suggestion here that we need to be very practical. We really need to utilize this, you know, the balance aspects of the 6. We really need to utilize it in a practical sense and not get swept away in the emotionality of the Cups. But we see how we can apply it to the physical world. We can apply this balance, we can apply this harmony in our material world. Because the Queen of Discs is a very benevolent, independent woman. Let's get a card for the Sun, please. What appears to be this need, this, well, of course we are, you know, it's a solar eclipse happening. So, I don't know, we just, there's a light, something about light being shone on a lot of different things here. So it's not a, what do we release? We're releasing old, what we're doing is releasing old patterns and structures of the way that we do things, of the way that we've done things. So in this, so we have the Sun, query, question, beings, beautiful monarchs, 2 of them out there just flying around. What was I saying? So we see the Sun in this, the query, the question of what needs to be released. What we need to focus on is more about what needs to be expressed. Because this 7 of Swords is traditionally, I like to call it the backdoor man, because because instead of being without shame, where's the shame coming from? It's a card of thievery. Traditionally, it's a card of thievery. You know, the thief, he takes those 5 swords, and there's only 2 left. But yes, the backdoor man, the thief in the night. Maybe there's been slightly disingenuous energies, disingenuous behaviours. Well, there have been, haven't there? A lot of things have been exposed over the last few years. We're not just talking about now, but we are talking about what needs to be released at this current time in this Sagittarian new moon. So a light shines on deceptions, on just, you know, the 7 of Swords, we actually do to ourselves often as well. You know, it's covert, sneaky, and I do always often feel that there's an element of shame with the 7. There's an element of shame as having to be sneaky, as not being able to be straight out there and say, this is what this is what I want. How do I go about getting it in a way that honours your own integrity? I think the sun is the solar force is really going to be shining a light more clearly on what could be seen in a collective sense to be some dodgy behaviours, dodgy systems. I think this has been happening all year anyway, hasn't it? It's been happening for many years, I guess, but more so now there's potential that things are changing, but changing quite slowly, and it does feel that we are sort of going through the needle's eye, which is incredibly frustrating. You can't rush it, can you? Anyway, let's get it. I'm finding it hard to connect all of this, but anyway, I'm not sure whether it's going to make sense, but I hope it resonates in some way, and if it doesn't, it's just what I'm getting today. So let's get one card for strength, this ego card. Strength. I'm going to keep going until they jump. Keep going. One card for strength, please. This taming of our own mental beasts, our ego. You know, it's a very fiery read, which is appropriate. Sagittarian fiery fairies. For strength, we get the 6 of Swords. We get the 6 of Swords, which is a brilliant card. We've in some ways paved a way here. if we understand that maybe the restrictions that we've placed around those things we need to release or express, by understanding our ego here, we've literally paved the way to a place that's a lot calmer, a lot clearer, a calmer port, a different way of doing things. A different way of doing things. We're moving to calmer waters. Traditionally, often, this card meant travelling across water. But here I see it more as the work that's been done thus far, certainly individually, is taking us to calmer waters. And also the work that's been done thus far with organisations, the collective like groups around the world, that have brought about great improvements in some areas, because there are positive things going on every day. We're just bombarded, aren't we, with the news relies on sort of bad news, really, doesn't it? I mean, it really does. Anyway, so I find that quite lovely. It's quite gorgeous. It's quite gorgeous. And then, of course, the Queen of Cups in her lowest polarity, she can be deceptive. We don't know whether something's just reflecting back at us what we want to see. We don't know. Many, many mirrors and many reflections, but it's too many. But in her higher aspect, she is a self-generating system. She can give out, and her cup always remains full. It's a fantastic position to be in. And I think often we do feel that, and then other times we just don't. Wow. This duty really jumped out. Really jumped out. So we get the magician, the magus. He's somehow armed himself with all the tools that he needs in order to work with and co-create with the universe, which is what we're all here to do. So in this process of understanding what we need to express, that we can express without having to go through the back door, as it were. This is understanding our integrity, our inner truth. And with the Strength card and the Six of Swords, we've understood elements of our ego. We've tamed that beast. And we know there are aspects of it which are our total ally, and aspects of it which trip us up. So we've understood this, and what it's done is actually, what that in itself has done is paved a smooth path to a calmer area of balance, to a calmer position in a far more desirable port. you know, the Six of Cups around us in this overarching energy position, the Six of Cups. It is everything is kind of is conjoining to, there's another beautiful butterfly, conjoining from this point inwards to the 21st of December, to heading into that full moon in Cancer on the 29th of December. Everything is sort of conjoining and supporting our ability to express clearly, cleanly, to express our, in some ways, to express a lot of stuff. But there's childlike enthusiasm about this. There's something about this that's been sprinkled with a little bit of gold. That we're supported, whether we're in trial, whether we're in tribulation or trial, whether we're in a good position as we see it or we're not. The things are around at this point to support us in expressing, believing in ourselves. And here, with that Queen of Cups, we have the Magician. I think we understand over the process of this year, we understand certain things. People have been tested. People have been really, really challenged. And in the end, there is something productive, something good, something that upskills us that comes out of this, out of these experiences. I'm not just talking in relation to this pandemic business, but generally life, you know, is that we need to be our own magicians. And in order to do that, one part of it is understanding our ego and the beasts that lie within that. Fascinating. I think that's gorgeous. I think it's sort of hopeful. I think it's really hopeful, with a kind of solar edge, with a really hot, radiant edge to it. But anyway, we'll get, excuse me, oops, oh no, where are we? Sorry about this. Oh look, things get totally stuck. It's just, I think it's the heat. It's just one of those days. So we've got one card that popped out. For some reason, I haven't looked at it yet. God, it feels really thin. It feels thinner. I don't know why. I'm not going to look at it. I'll get one more card. One more, just as a conclusion to this reading, and I hope you got something out of it. Do leave a comment if it's, you know, if you found something of interest. That'd be great. Just one more card, please. Let's see. Let us see. Bellissimo. Bellissimo. Oh my goodness. This is a tsunami warning. I think they're just testing it. we've got fruition. I'm going to keep going. Fruition really sums this up. The smallest thing can often be a non-appearance. And yet then we see it come to being later. I think it goes 3 times, and then we have Mother Love, which is a card. It's a nurturing card. It's God, I hope they're just testing it. It's a card of being in the happy environment where people philosophize, people share ideas, people are supported and always nourished with Lady of the Heart. It's also a card of working with, in the same vein, working with others in a workshop environment and collaborative effort. I think this is a general directive for everyone, especially this year, that maybe it's been too long. We certainly still need to concentrate on ourselves individually and take individual responsibility, but we need to work more with others. Thank goodness that stopped. Yeah, the tsunami warning system. They're just testing it, I think. Phew. So yeah, this is a beautiful card in conjunction with fruition. Sometimes, you know, we put all sorts of effort into things and we think, well, nothing comes. Nothing's come of it. Or I haven't seen it yet. And fruition comes in many different forms. Often seemingly not appearing at all, and then suddenly, boom. So it's beautiful combined with, I love that, Lady of the Hearth, a place of nourishment for all. You know, it's like focus on that, focus on the sharing of ideas and creating space that includes, that's inclusive and that supports, because we all need that. Thank you so much for joining me for the Time and Tides reading, and I will be putting out some readings for the elements, for the 4 elements, toward the end of next week, and a solstice. I don't think that'll encompass the solstice in the southern hemisphere here. It's summer solstice on the 21st, and of course that's the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction as well. So exciting times indeed. So thank you most sincerely for joining me, and take good care. We'll see you. Take care.